Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Brian Escow Show. It is a pleasure to be with you as always. Please clap. Please clap. Jeb Bush. I'm sure you get the reference. No, instead of clapping, I do invite you to share this video with your friends and followers, subscribe to it wherever you're listening, and leave a comment. That really helps the show grow. And so if you're interested in what I'm doing and would like to see me keep doing it, that's a great way to encourage me. Thank you very much. And for anyone watching on X, please know that you can find all my episodes in my highlights tab. Okay. Thank you very much. And welcome back, everybody. I've been getting back into music. Not too long ago, I observed, I'm really kind of not listening to music that much anymore. And music was such a big part of my life. I played guitar for a long time, spent years of many formative years alone in my room playing guitar, for better or worse. And actually happy to report that I picked up playing the guitar again, which is really fun. Pardon me, sip of tea. And in conjunction with that, I guess I've been listening to music again. And so I just want to shout out two random artists that I discovered recently that I'm really into. And the reason I kind of want to shout them out is to highlight how cool it is. I know I'm like late to the game here by 15 years, but that you can find new artists on social media. I mean, what a cool time it is if you're a talented artist. So the first guy is this guy, Braden Bales. Found him on Instagram, kind of like a pop punk emo, but really good guitar player, really good songwriter, lyrics, singing, the whole thing. He's incredible. So Braden Bales, love you, man. And then this guy that I discovered like 2 days ago that I have just been listening to obsessively is called Alex G. Couple random songs by Alex G that I want to mention. Let's go with, oh shit, why is it playing something? It's like playing Tucker Carlson randomly. That is so weird. I swear I wasn't listening to Tucker. Actually, we can come back to that in a second. But songs by Alex would include Runner, MIS, Miss, Gretel, like Hansel and Gretel, Bobby, sometimes, and then go with Bug. That's kind of my favorite. Kicker and Snot. So it's just he's like a guy who just was like making guitar tracks. Well, he's more than a guitar player, but he's just this incredible songwriter, producer, homegrown talent that got recognized and has this amazing career now. Look up Alex G Tiny Desk concert and find his, just go YouTubing for him and you'll really dig it. Indie, kind of like the Pixies meets Elliott Smith is the best way to describe it. That's pretty good if you're into music. So that's what's up, and that's good. All of that is good, right? It makes the world go round in these trying times. To have art that you can rely on to take you out of your mind state and elevate it, hopefully. So happy to share that with you. Perhaps that is an appropriate segue, talking about darkness in the world and kind of the horrors of life that do arise from time to time. Bondi Beach in Australia, the site of that horrific Hanukkah terrorist attack. It's just terrible, man. I mean, look, all murder, all terror, all violence is equally reprehensible. And it just so happens that I'm Jewish. I do believe in God. I'm leaning more into my Jewish identity as I get older. Let's put it that way. And so it does affect me when, especially now I just got married. We're going to have kids, God willing, soon enough, right? And I've done Hanukkah on the beach with people I love. And so that's really striking and really disturbing. And my heart is with the victims. So, it's a scary time to be a Jew. You find yourself at the center of this whirlwind that you didn't ask for. And not everyone's out to get you. And not everyone who's anti Israel is anti Jewish. And not everyone who is anti Israel and even anti Jewish is out to murder you. But there are tensions that are real, and the dynamic is tense, and it is scary. And so hopefully we just we just grow, guys, from the mistakes. But there are a lot of characters online, not all of them being inappropriate. It's okay to have different political opinions and religious opinions, but there is a rising tide of anti-Semitism, okay? To sound like that guy. And it's scary. All right? There, I said it. And I meant it. So my condolences to the poor victims of that terrorist attack. But really, the main meat and potatoes of this episode are Trump's post on Rob Reiner, which I'm about to get into, and then what I'm calling the slappening of Hayden McDougall. Okay. So, real quick on Rob Reiner, I won't pretend to be more familiar with his career than I am. I know and love Princess Bride, and I know that Rob Reiner was an historic towering figure in Hollywood for good. You may not like his politics, but this guy was a super talent, a triple threat. And if you love entertainment, you probably have good reason to hold Rob Reiner in high regard. So um, his career was amazing, and his legacy and impact is amazing. Um, but my God, what a horror show! My condolences to the Reiner family and to all who knew and loved them. There is something so it's like biblical. That's the word. To be murdered, to have your both parents be murdered by one of your children is it's a it's about as inverted as you can get in terms of how life is supposed to go, right? It it's very dark, and what a shadow that casts. It's terrible. Um, these poor family members, poor victims, Rob and Michelle. Can you imagine going through that, knowing everything you've been through with your respectfully basket case son, all the help you probably tried to give over the years? I really don't want to imagine those final moments. Um, but you feel something, don't you? You feel tremendous agony for them and sadness and grief. Um, it's beyond the pale. And then you have Trump's post, which I'll get to in a second. But first, did you guys see James Woods? We all know the conservative actor and intellect, political activist, James Woods. He was on Jesse Waters. I saw a clip yesterday, and he just gave the most beautiful 7 minute, probably one of the most important clips I've seen in years when you think about it. Talking about how, yes, we were diametrically opposed politically, but we were both equal patriots. He said Rob Reiner was a genuine patriot. He said Rob Reiner was a thinking man in an era when people don't think anymore. He said Rob Reiner was there for him and did everything he could for him and saved his career. And he's got nothing but good things to say about Rob Reiner as a human being, an artist and intellect and friend. And he said that, look, he made the point that can't we certainly we can disagree with each other without hating each other. And in fact, we can love each other. And so that is so important. Let's grab onto that. I need to do a better job. You need to do a better job keeping that at the forefront of our mind. We're all human beings, most of us, right? I mean, unless, we can get into that. But we're probably mostly all human beings. And we have a lot in common, more in common than we have separating us. And in fact, that is kind of what the Republican argument is, in my opinion, is that we all have more uniting us than we have dividing us. Whereas I would say the Democrats, not to get into a political thing, but it's more divisive. And so I'm into unity, not division. And I think that is the underlying theme of both parties. If you would allow me to slip in my little political argument there, that's why I've gone the direction I've gone. So you've got this insane, horrific, biblically tragic, high profile, bewildering murder, double murder. You've got James Woods, eh, of a guy. I'm glad this occurred to me to say, of a guy who couldn't. So all the nice things we said about Rob Reiner. With that said, this guy could not have been more of a political enemy to Donald Trump, which is fine. But just from Trump's perspective, this was no bystander. This guy was a foot soldier in the political war against Donald Trump, and that's okay, but he was. And so we do have to keep in mind this was no passing guy. This guy was a general, not a foot soldier. This guy attacked Trump relentlessly, arguably for things that were inappropriate. The Russiagate, the everything. I mean, Rob Reiner, I think it is safe to say, was drunk on Trump hate. He was, and that's okay, but he was. Let's not pretend he wasn't. So Trump's statement did not come out of nowhere. Trump, we know who Trump is. I mean, Trump is egocentric, as most of us are, but he's very egocentric, and Trump is Trump. And so he was never going to perhaps put out something quite normal. But can we admit that Trump, 9 times out of 10, almost 10 times out of 10, really, when someone dies, he's very warm. He's very warm. He's got that charm. And that's one of his best qualities. So, what did we get from Trump? Let's read the tweet. A very sad thing happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling, but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away, together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. He was known to have driven people crazy by his raging obsession of President Donald J. Trump, with his obvious paranoia reaching new heights as the Trump administration surpassed all goals and expectations of greatness, and with the golden age of America upon us, perhaps like never before. May Rob and Michelle rest in peace! Exclamation point. Oh my God, it's all there. It's 25% straight out of North Korea. It's 25% heart and honesty and treating your enemy as your enemy. There's almost a respect by not sugarcoating how you feel about the guy. There's almost a respect that you're paying and saying, Rob, you are a fucking dick to me, and so I'm gonna return the favor even now, but may you rest in peace. Your career was great at one point, and it's very sad what happened, and rest in peace. Look, I just watched Lincoln. I talked about that in one of my recent solo episodes. So I can't really imagine Abraham Lincoln saying this, and that perhaps reflects unfavorably on Trump. I don't support this post. This is certainly one of the posts that put this in the category of you put up with it because you like what you're getting with Trump. Look, it's not cool. I said it was bad form. It's bad form to go that hard the day after him and his wife were murdered by their son. Period. At the same time, it was there is a certain heart to it. There is a certain respect to it. But it's just terrible. It's not what he should have said. He should have left. He could have softened it. Okay. I'm not outraged. I'm not one of these people who are throwing a fit about it. I think he could have and probably should have softened it a bit. I'm not saying he should have thrown a change up and not hit him on the way out. I'm not saying that's beyond the pale, but he could have softened it. He could have definitely, I mean, unless it comes out that the son who allegedly killed him was like a Trump guy. And I mean, God forbid, but even if you could have done better here, Mr. President, that's all I've got to say about it. All right, we're moving on now to the big news, the big news, the slappening, I call it. You may not know who woman propaganda is, aka Hayden McDougall. I believe that's his name. But you probably do at this point if you're online a lot. So who is Hayden McDougall? Who he's a guy, young guy. He might even be only 20 years old, which is crazy. But he's in the Nick Fuentes side of the equation. What do I mean by that? He's an online figure. He's bombastic. He's pretty much openly racist and anti-Semitic and hateful. I'm willing to say that. Now, I'm not one of these people who's super judgy and you have to be politically correct all the time. Not at all. Not at all. But he's a guy who sits at a desk with you only ever see him in his Trump outfit, blue suit, red tie, got his mustache, got, you know, nice young hair, full head of hair. He's on the shorter side, not that you see that when he's seated, and he's a reactor. He does these videos. He's extremely popular online where he'll play the video of the day, um, a video of black people getting into a street fight, a video of a Jewish person arguing about money, a video of a woman crying into a camera or talking shit about men, and so on. Um, he is a representative for young white men, for sure. And by the way, before I even go further, let me just say I understand why a Nick Fuentes and a Hayden McDougall type of a Trump character emerges out of the political environment. I completely understand. I studied critical race theory in law school and ended up becoming a Republican. Why? Because I felt that white people and traditional American culture, they have a lot to do with each other. They're not totally the same thing, but there's a lot of overlap there. We're unfairly attacked in our country, in our media, in our institutions, and I wanted to defend them. And so I understand why these types of figures emerge, but they go about things in ways that I wouldn't. And I got to just say, I'm happy and thank God I wasn't in my 20s or teens when social media was around, because I would have made a damn fool out of myself and potentially ruined my life. Like I think these guys in so many ways are doing. Now they're growing, they're continuing to grow, and they'll probably always have an audience. But I would venture to guess that they're going to one day regret the path they've taken. So let me tell you more about them. He'll watch a video and he'll watch about 30 seconds to a minute of it. And what's the popular genre these days? You react. You watch someone play a video game, you react. You watch a video, you watch a podcast, you react. Everything's a reaction and reaction of a reaction. South Park did an episode years ago on this. And so he'll pause the video and then he'll go, and he'll say the N word and he'll talk. And hateful stuff will come out of his mouth. Is he smart? Yeah, he's smart. Is he funny? Yes, he's funny often. But unfortunately, it seems like 90% of the time he goes beyond smart and beyond funny and beyond risque and into dangerous. And they are fueling genuine, I mean, the attack in Australia. Look around. If you think it's appropriate to be fanning the flames rather of hate, then you're fucked up. Whether it's because you're too young and you don't know better, which may well be the case. People make mistakes when they're young. I get it. I get that, Vice President. I agree with you on that. And we shouldn't put people in intellectual jail forever. But you cannot divorce actions from consequences. And this guy, Hayden McDougall, now people will turn that and say, oh, what about Charlie Kirk? And say, no, Charlie Kirk didn't do that. Charlie Kirk did not deserve what he got. Anyway, Hayden McDougall, this guy known for the most extreme, inflammatory, horrible language, ultimate divider, ultimate provocateur, bad kid. And I know how that sounds. I don't mean to sound like that guy. But dangerous stuff. All right? He's chosen a dangerous path. Using the hard R on the N word for fun on the internet. No. You get my point? You get the idea of who this guy is? He's funny. He's smart. but he's angry and he's hateful and it's dangerous. So he says all this shit behind his screen, right? Always, and that's the thing about these provocateurs online. You want to say, get out in the real world and see what happens. Well, here's what happened. I guess I should know the story better, but I think it was like a Young Republicans conference in New York or something, right? It was kind of this big event, New Year's party, perhaps. And if I understand correctly, Fuentes got his invitation revoked, but a lot of these controversial figures were invited, including Hayden McDougall slash woman propaganda. And basically, some protester tries to crash the event with a Nazi flag or something or armbands, as far as I understand it. And the Young Republicans kick him out. Some staffer for what's her name, Elisa Stefanik, the congresswoman from New York. I think she's running for governor, right? She's a up and coming, respected political figure. Some fat, respectfully, kind of a bigger guy, young guy, who works for her is shown yelling at this protester, kicking him out. And I guess the story is that Hayden McDougall, with his mustache and his hair and his jacket, I'm sure he had his suit on underneath. Perhaps he was trying to enter the party as this protester was being kicked out. Somehow, Hayden McDougall gets handed a Nazi armband. And what does Hayden McDougall do? Being Hayden McDougall, he puts it on, or he holds it up, or he says, "Yeah, cool." Next thing you know, this big boy who works for Elisa Stefanik comes walking around the corner. He's big. He's got suspenders on. It's hilarious. He's like out of the 40s, but fat, respectfully. And my God, he fucking slaps the shit out of Hayden McDougall. And Hayden McDougall runs around the corner, and it looks like he meets who? Nick Fuentes and company. And it looks like he's possibly meeting Nick Fuentes for the first time in real life, because Nick Fuentes is seen saying, "Hey, man, nice to meet you. How you doing?" And Hayden McDougall is literally fresh off being rocked in the face. And he goes, "Dude," and it was kind of cute, actually. Hayden goes, "Dude, I just got my shit reset." So, wow. Talk about, and then they took a picture minutes later because apparently the big guy who slapped him, it was a misunderstanding. He thought he was a leftist Nazi protester when I guess really he was just having fun and someone handed him a Nazi armband and he is who he is. So he wasn't really crashing the party and trying to paint them all as Nazis. So I guess they tried to do a kiss and make up picture. So fucking weird. And all we can say is, ha ha ha. You came out in the real world, you tried that shit, and you got your shit rocked. And it was fucking hilarious. And look, he's owned it, and he's probably going to be fine in terms of his reputation within his community. But it was satisfying. No one's endorsing violence here. A slap is very different than a bullet. But nonetheless, no one's endorsing violence. But there is something poetic and kind of beautiful about getting slapped in the face in that situation. So, will woman propaganda lose aura, or will he recover and maintain his aura? This is what matters to these people, and they're chronically online. And I'm not judging. I'm just saying this is the Groypers. They are. I don't know if they're virgins, all of them, but probably and I don't know if that's by choice, which is beautiful and respectable, or if it's not, in which case it's on the sadder side. But they are chronically online. They are pissed off about critical race theory, which I've been talking about for 2-3 years now. So my role, as I see it, is to reduce the toxins in our political environment and say, "Hey, Hayden McDougall, Nick Fuentes, I understand where you're coming from. And trust me, I'm working on the left to get them to understand, look what you've become. How could you not understand why these guys over here, these young white kids, especially men, are angry and feel traumatized by you telling them they're bad from day one and they're corrupted and that our system is corrupted?" It's very, very bad. At the same time, you got to say to them, "Guys, you got to work with me too," and say, "I know that you've been made to feel this way, and that's not right. But I would ask you to slow down and think about what you're doing Are you overreacting? Do you really want to do what you're doing? And they might say yes, in which case you have to say, look, then we're not on the same page, but we can work together to the extent we can to make the world a better place. But ultimately, there will be a line in the sand where we're not friends. We're opponents. You want to kick me and all other Jews out of the country and back to Israel? That's too far. You want to make jokes about the entire black community? No, you don't get to make that joke. Not in public, not online. You want to say something about people in your small friend group? That's your business. But you don't get to wear the crown of chief asshole without consequences. So I can't protect you. I want people to come together, not falsely, but genuinely, and air out their grievances. And coming back to what I see my role as is to just try to clear the way for that as possible. Understand that we're not going to all be singing kumbaya at the end of the day. There are cultural differences, intellectual differences, differences of opinion. But can we get to that point where we're James Woods and Rob Reiner, even if we're black and white and Jewish and Asian and Indian American? We should be able to get to that point where we say, totally disagree with you. Could not disagree more, but I love you. And I'll see you for lunch. I would be very proud if I could be part of that solution that helps people reconnect with that sense of self and that sense of patriotism. Sacrifices will be necessary on both sides. On both sides, you're going to have to give a little bit to get something, right? So we are very fractured. The politics, the technology, the social media, the anger, the isolation. It's a very tense time, and so again, I'd be very honored if I could play a small role in reviving civility and respect and humility on all sides. And if you're that means you're going to have to give something up too. So anyway, I hope this was a nice change of pace. Getting back to a little bit of political news from the last so many recent episodes have been alien focused. It's pretty intense, man. I mean, people are saying in the UFO world, maybe I should get out of the UFO world, but a lot of people who I think seem credible are saying something is going to be happening in the next year or two with aliens or non-human intelligence on Earth. And if that's true, big if, big if, big if, hopefully I'm just out of my rocker. But if that's true, the implications are staggering. And oh, geez, well, it could be really great. It could be really bad. I hope the world's not ending, is what I'm trying to say here. Because I'm just getting around to liking it here. Happily married, great job. Podcast is going great. Um, it would be a shitty time for the world to end. It would have been great if the world would have ended 15 years ago. I would have been like, whatever. But now I'm hoping we stick around. So more to come on the alien subject. More great interviews. More to come on the political subjects. More great interviews lined up. Professors, candidates running for office. The Brian Escow Show is just getting started, and I'm so grateful to you for listening. So thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Have a great day.